He was the best cop in the city, feared by criminals, respected by colleagues, and loved by everyone who knew him. ACP Ravi Nambiar was an institution in itself, so when he announced his retirement from the force after 32 years of service, there was a collective gasp. The news spread like wildfire through the grapevine. Ravi's farewell party was attended by almost every officer in the force, all eager to soak in every last moment with their beloved boss. And being the excellent storyteller that he was, they sat spellbound as he regaled them with tales of heroism, daring, adventure, and romance, all over a bottle of fine scotch. But as the night wore on and the scotch flowed, the mood shifted and Ravi began to speak of darker things, stranger cases that had kept him up at night, chasing shadows and whispers in the darkness. And then it happened. As if taking a cue from the macabre tale that Ravi was weaving, the lights flickered and died, plunging the hall into total darkness. The guests gasped and instinctively shuffled closer to each other, seeking comfort in numbers. But Ravi just smiled, his eyes twinkling in the darkness. He continued his story without missing a beat. It was about a cop who becomes obsessed with a murder case. A cop who begins to lose his grip on reality as he chases a killer who may not even be real. The hall was silent, every eye fixed on Ravi, every ear straining to catch his every word. Then, just as suddenly as the lights went out, they came back on. A smattering of nervous laughter broke the silence, and the guests began to make their way home. The next morning, the commissioner's office was buzzing. Every officer wanted to know more about the case that Ravi had spoken about the night before, but he only smiled cryptically and changed the subject. Days turned into weeks, and the case remained unsolved, or so everyone assumed, but in reality, Ravi never stopped chasing shadows. One evening, he was called to the commissioner's office. The top brass was gathered there, their faces grim. A series of murders had been committed, and they needed Ravi's help. The modus operandi was chilling, the victims mutilated, the crime scenes staged. It was as if the killer was taunting the police. And as Ravi looked at the evidence, he couldn't shake off the feeling that he had seen this before, that he had chased this killer in his dreams. As he delved deeper into the case, the line between his waking world and his dreams began to blur. Was this a new case or a continuation of an old one? Was the killer real or a figment of Ravi's imagination? He found himself questioning everything, even his own sanity. His colleagues were skeptical, some even accusing him of using the case to settle scores. But Ravi didn't care. He had a hunch, a gut feeling that drove him. Then one day, he got a break. A witness came forward, describing a man who matched the composite sketch that Ravi had made. Hope surged through him. Finally, a lead. But when he and his team arrived at the suspect's house, they found him dead, a victim of the very crimes they were investigating. Ravi was devastated. All his efforts, all his hopes, dashed against the rocks of reality. He had failed. Again. And so the case remained unsolved, another chapter in the book of Ravi's unfinished business. But the story doesn't end there. Years passed, careers ended, lives moved on. But every once in a while, when Ravi least expected it, he would get a call in the middle of the night, a call from a stranger who would describe a dream, a chillingly familiar dream of a cop chasing a killer through a dark and twisted labyrinth. And then the call would end abruptly, leaving Ravi wondering if he was losing his mind. Then one day, it happened again. A series of murders, the same MO, the same chilling taunts. Ravi, now retired and living a quiet life, was pulled back into the maelstrom. The police were baffled, the public was terrified, and all eyes turned to Ravi for help. He was their last hope. But as Ravi dug into the case, he realized that he wasn't just fighting to solve a series of murders. He was fighting to save his own soul. For the case mirrored his own life, his own demons. And as he chased the killer, he was also running from his past. Ravi's story is one that has kept me up at night, one that has made me question the very nature of reality. Because what if our dreams aren't just dreams? What if they're glimpses into other worlds, alternate realities where we make different choices, where lives are lived and lost, where love triumphs or fails? What if the line between our waking world and the world of dreams is thinner than we think? That a single step can take us from one to the other, from life to death, from joy to sorrow. Ravi's story is a reminder that the darkest chapters in our lives can be the ones that stay with us the longest, shaping us, defining us, haunting us. Even in our waking world, sometimes the only way to escape a nightmare is to face it, to confront the demons in our dreams and bring them to justice. The late night call came when Ravi was 62 years old and happily settled in his village in the arms of his wife, Padma. Ravi picked up the phone call. On the other side of the wire was Inspector Ajay Sharma, a young, dynamic officer who had recently joined the force. His father, Hari Sharma, had been a dear friend of Ravi's during their younger days. "Sir, I need your help," said Ajay, his voice tight with urgency. "There have been 3 murders in the last 24 hours. All the victims were found with a playing card, the Queen of Spades, shoved in their mouths. The post-mortem reports say that all of them were strangled to death. Sir, I'm sorry to bother you, but I couldn't solve the case. I thought maybe you could help." Ravi missed his late friend, Hari. He also liked the sound of the young man on the phone. He agreed to meet Ajay at the police station. By the time Ravi reached the station, Ajay had collected all the case files and the evidence. "Sir, here's everything we've got," he said, handing the file over to Ravi. The first page of the file caught Ravi's attention. He flipped through it, his brow furrowed in concentration. Each victim had been killed in a different part of the city, yet the modus operandi was the same. The bodies were always found in public places, always fully clothed, always with the same playing card in their mouths. "So tell me, Ajay," Ravi asked, his voice raspy, "what do you think the motive was?" "I don't know, sir," Ajay replied. "That's why I called you. You're the best in this game, sir. I want to learn how you think." Ravi studied the file for a few more moments, then looked up at Ajay. "Do you believe in coincidences?" he asked. Ajay was taken aback. "What do you mean, sir?" "These 3 murders, they're not random, nor are they the work of a psychopath," Ravi said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "This is the work of a serial killer." Just then, a constable entered the room. "Sir," he said, "we've got another one." Ravi felt a thrill shoot through him. A 4th victim, the pattern was continuing. Now let's see if we can catch up with the killer. To be continued in part 2. Thank you for watching and please subscribe for updates.